Mention the factors that promoted regionalism in India. Explain how it has affected India. Regionalism regionalism is a term used to describe the idea that people living in a particular area share a common identity share a common identity based on their distinctive characteristics such as language culture, history, food habits. This shared identity creates a feeling of solidarity among the people living in an area. It is important to note that local patriotism and loyalty to one's locality, region, or state and its language and culture do not necessarily constitute regionalism. Acha, it is important to note that local patriotism and locality to and loyalty to one's locality, region, and state and its language and culture do not constitute regionalism. Regionalism is a multi-dimensional phenomena and various determinants work together such as geographical features. Geographical boundaries in India are closely linked to linguistic distribution, topography, and climate, leading to regional orientation among the inhabitants of a particular area. It creates a sense of regionalism among people based on their symbolic attachment to their area. For example, Gorkhaland. The geographical factors. ठीक है. Regionalism is the term used to describe the idea that people living in a particular area share a common identity based on their distinctive characteristics such as language, culture, history, and food habits. ठीक है. Historical and cultural factor. In India, historical and cultural factor play an important role in shaping regionalism. Cultural heritage, folklore, cultural heritage, folklore, myth, symbolism, and historical traditional contribute to regionalism by inspiring a sense of pride and identity among the people of a particular cultural group. Under this factor, political and economic realities also influence regionalism, जैसे कि वोडोलैंड. Caste and religion. When caste is combined with linguistic conflict or religious fundamentalism, it gives rise to dogma and stereotyping, further, further inflaming regional sentiments such as Bhil Pradesh. मतलब caste and religion. Economic factor. Development in different part of uneven development in different part of India is the primary cause of regionalism and separatism. This inequality leads to sense of relative deprivation among residents of economically neglected area, resulting in demands for separate state. Such example है विदर्भा एंड बुंदेलखंड रीजन. ठीक है. The effect of regionalism can be seen in following terms. देखो पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट क्या है. प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ कल्चर एंड ट्रेडिशन. Regionalism help to preserve unique culture and traditional as people are able to express and celebrate their regional identity and keep traditional practices alive. Development of local economies. Regionalism can encourage the development of local economies by promoting investment in local business industries, potentially create job opportunity and boosting the economy. ठीक है. Political empowerment. Regionalism can lead to greater political empowerment because people with a strong sense of regional identity are more likely to organize and advocate for interest, which can ensure that their needs are represented in the political process. आते negative. Tension and conflict. Regionalism can lead to tension and conflict between different regions. This may manifest as a sense of competition, distrust, or even hostility between regions. अब आते हैं marginalization of minority group. Regionalism can sometimes marginalize minority group within a region, especially those who do not share the language, religion, and cultural practices of dominant group. Division politics. Political party or leaders may use regional identity to create division politics, leading to lack of cooperation and consensus at lack of cooperation and consensus at national level, ultimately hindering progress and development. It can also give rise to identity based politics. Regionalism refer to ideology where a person promote his regional identity over national identity. Where a person promote his regional identity over national identity. If taken so far, if taken too far, it can be positive or negative. Regionalism in India is generally considered a negative factor as it harm the unity of nation. As it harm the unity of nation. In their for power, political leaders have tried to create a feeling of regionalism. There is a need to deal effectively with this problem for sake of unity and common national identity. अब आते हैं इंटरनल माइग्रेशन इज बिकमिंग ए प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया. In light of this statement, describe the various challenges posed by internal migration in India. देखो, migration is the movement of people away from their usual place of residence, either across internal within country or international border. An important aspect of study on population is migration arising due to various social, economic and political reasons. According to 2011 census report, the number of internal migrants in India was 4,000, was 450 million, which includes interstate migration. This was 37% of this was 37% of India population in 2011. Interstate movement accounted for about 88% of internal migration. Uttar Pradesh and Bihar were the largest source of interstate migration, while Maharashtra and Delhi were the target receiver state. Most of interstate migration, जो 70% was due to मैरिज एंड फैमिली रीजन्स. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया डेटा माइग्रेशन पे. ठीक है, अब आते हैं लार्ज नंबर ऑफ इंटरनल माइग्रेशन क्रिएट्स फॉलोइंग चैलेंज. सबसे पहला है अनप्लान्ड डेवलपमेंट. Large number of migrant often lead to formation of unauthorized colonies which are not developed as per requirement of vibrant urban space. Provision of basic amenities. The growing migrant population put pressure on ability of urban agency to provide adequate basic amenities such as clean water, paved roads, clean areas, etc. This often lead to formation of slum which are unhygienic. Livelihood. Internal migrants are mostly employed in unorganized sector due to which these migrants face difficulty in providing livelihood. Due to which these migrants face difficulty in providing livelihood security. An ILO study showed that 95% of India's internal migrants lost all mean of livelihood during COVID-19 lockdown, and only 7% were supported by effort to revive their livelihood through state-run मनरेगा program. अच्छा, इम्पोर्टेंट रिपोर्ट. अब आते हैं सोशल प्रोटेक्शन. Lack of identity document increase the non-portability of entitlement of migrant workers such as PDS. Safety and security. अब आते हैं माइग्रेंट ओफन लिव इन क्राइम रिडन स्लम सेटलमेंट्स वेयर दे आर वल्नरेबल टू फिजिकल अब्यूज़ एंड सेक्शुअल हरासमेंट, स्पेशली वुमेन एंड चिल्ड्रन. समटाइम्स दे आर इवन हरास्ड बाई लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसी. ठीक है. द फॉलोइंग मेजर्स कैन बी टेकन टू डील विथ चैलेंजेस ऑफ इंटरनल माइग्रेशन. सबसे पहला है कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग. The government need to prepare a long-term master plan for urban development, anticipate and accommodate future need for housing, transport, sanitation, health services, education, etc., and provide adequate fund and personnel. अब आते हैं comprehensive policy. Government need to develop a holistic and comprehensive policy framework to reduce the vulnerabilities faced by internal migrants in various sectors, ensure access to basic services. Migration policy should also include access to decent access to basic services. Migrant policy should also include access to decent living condition to ensure that migrants are not denied access to housing and basic services, etc. Labor market inclusion. This can be done by providing training, placement, and skill upgradation with the help of NGO. State and local government need to create conducive legislative and policy framework for all internal migrant, including interstate migrant, to enhance inclusive growth while ensuring their economic and social development. अब आते हैं evaluate unemployment in India as a social problem. Unemployment is a situation in which a person is physically and mentally capable of working at prevailing wage rate but does not get a job to work. In other words, unemployment is a situation in which a person willing to work does not get job at prevailing wage rate. Unemployment is the cause of many social problems in India today. अब हमको इसमें अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट लिखना पड़ेगा, ठीक है. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट एज ए सोशल प्रॉब्लम, ये बोला क्या? हाँ ठीक है, सोशल प्रॉब्लम देखते हैं. द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट गिवन राइज टू प्रॉब्लम ऑफ पॉवर्टी. देखो, गवर्नमेंट इज बर्डन विद एडिशनल borrowing as unemployment reduce production and consumption of goods and services by people. Unemployed people can easily get misled by anti-social elements. Due to this, they lose faith in democratic value of country. People who are unemployed for a long time may get involved in illegal and wrong activity to earn the money, which increase crime in the country. Unemployment affects the country's economy because the workforce that could have been gainfully employed to generate resource actually become dependent on remaining working population, thereby increasing socio-economic cost of state. For example, 1% increase in unemployment reduce करता है GDP by 2%. It is often seen that unemployed people become addicted to drugs and alcohol or attempt suicide, which cause loss to human resource of country. डिस्पाइट ये सब सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स है, मतलब क्राइम हो रहा है, एंटी सोशल, ये तो दोनों सेम ही सही हैं. सोशल प्रॉब्लम थोड़ा और लिख लीजिएगा, ठीक है. डिस्पाइट द अबव मेंशन प्रॉब्लम, फॉलोइंग मेजर्स कैन बी टेकन टू रिड्यूस अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. पहला है प्रमोशन ऑफ लेबर इंटेंसिव इंडस्ट्रीज. India has many labor-intensive manufacturing sectors such as food processing, leather and footwear, wood manufacturing and furniture, textile and textile apparel, कपड़ा, especially designed individually for each industry to create job package are required. Decentralization of industries. Decentralization of industrial activities is necessary so that people from every sector get employment. Development of rural area will help in reducing the migration of rural people to urban areas, which will reduce the pressure on job in urban areas. Drafting a national employment policy. There is a need for a national employment policy that will include a set of multidimensional interventions that will include a set of multidimensional intervention covering a whole range of social economic issue affecting multiple policy area, not just labor and area of employment. Unemployment or alienation is a serious social and economic problem with far-reaching consequences that are ubiquitous but sometimes ignored. A more robust method of estimating unemployment should be implemented to better understand the cause of unemployment and how to solve them. Cause of unemployment and how to solve them. Crime statistics, poverty statistics, health statistics, and increasing market data all play a role in social and political life of countries. However, few of these statistics may match the impact of may match the impact or culture significance of unemployment rate. What is Indian secularism according to you? How is it difficult? How is it different from secularism of Western countries? Secularism means separating religion from political, economic, social, and cultural aspect of life, considering religion as a purely individual matter. Considering religion as a purely individual matter. In this, emphasis was laid on separation of state from religion and complete freedom of all religion and tolerance towards all religion. Indian secularism aimed to allow freedom of religion and religious activity. Freedom of religion and religious activity. Secularism is defined as separation of religion from all political, social, economic, cultural aspect components, and treating religion as a non-influential entity. Western society have naturally focused on conquering internal religious group, which is quite different from Indian secularism, as we see through the following point of view. According to Western concept of secularism, state and religion have their own separate domain and cannot interfere in each other business. Thus, the Western concept of secularism require complete separation of religion and state. However, in India, there is no wall of separation between religion and state, neither in law nor in reality. In India, both state and religion are allowed to interact and interfere in each other business, as long as they do so within the limit set by law and the court. In other words, Indian secularism does not call for complete exclusion of religion from state. According to according to Western model, education institution of religious community cannot receive any financial assistance from the state, whereas all religious minority in India have legal right to form and maintain their own educational institution with possible state support. In Western paradigm, the state remain aloof from religious concern as long as they are conducted within the bound of law. On the other hand, Indian secularism requires a state to intervene in religion to address its evils. India has taken action by eradicating law that prohibit the practice of sati, burning widows, dowry, animal world sacrifice, child marriage, denying entry to temple to Dalits. Since no public policy can be made on basis of religion in West, the government is completely cut off from religion activity and practice of its people. Secularism in India is a tool to address religious diversity and research is not an end in itself. Its objective was to maintain the peaceful coexistence of many religions. With 42nd Amendment of Constitution of India enacted in 1976, the preamble of Constitution claimed that India is a secular nation. Officially, secularism has always inspired modern India. In practice, unlike Western notions of secularism, Indian secularism does not separate Indian India's secularism does not separate religion and state. The Indian Constitution allowed extensive state interference in religious method. India does not yet have any specific law on refugee. In this context, critically evaluate the step taken by government of India to deal with refugee crisis. The influx of refugee began with partition of India in 1947, and by early 2010 the country had hosted approximately 4.5 lakh refugees from within and outside the region. India is neither a signatory to 1951 Refugee Convention nor its protocol. No, देखो neither देखो India is neither a signatory to refugee. India is neither a signatory to 1951 Refugee Convention nor its 1967 protocol on dignity of refugees. Given that no refugee law exists in India, there is no uniformity in treatment of refugee in the country. Following legislative framework is adopted by the government to deal with refugee crisis. India treats all foreigner well, whether they are illegal immigrants, refugees, asylum seeker, or overstayer as per visa permit. Foreign Act, Foreigner Act of 1946. Under Section 3, the central government has power to detect, detain, and deport illegal foreign nationals. Passport Entry into India Act of 1920 अंडर इसका सेक्शन 3 था. ठीक है. इसका सेक्शन 5 authorities can forcefully remove an illegal alien under article 258 subclause 1 of Indian Constitution. Registration of Foreigners Act of 1939. Under this, there is a mandatory requirement under which all foreign national except foreign national of India coming to India on a long-term visa more than 180 days may register within 14 days of its arrival. Citizenship Act of 1955. It provides provision for renunciation, termination, and deprivation of citizenship. Furthermore, Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 it seeks to provide citizenship only to persecuted Hindu, Christian, Jain, Parsi, Sikh, Buddhist immigrants from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. India has issued a SOP, standard operating procedure, to be followed by all concerned agencies to deal with foreign national coming to be refugees. The Constitution of India also respects the life, liberty, and dignity of human beings. Although many steps have been taken by government to deal with the refugee crisis, there are some shortcomings in them which we can see in following form. The first and foremost, India should present its persuasive justification for minor Myanmar. देखो, first and foremost, India should present its persuasive justification for the Myanmar coup in the upcoming UN Security Council. Here it is possible to suggest that international sanction be imposed on Myanmar. Second, there is also a need for an overall refugee strategy to differentiate with better clarity between refugees and illegal migrants. It is possible to appoint a National Immigrant Commission to draft India's national migration policy and national refugee policy. Third, the government should strengthening Foreigners Act of 1946 and arrange bilateral deportation agreement with nearby countries. State needs to work together with the center to solve the refugee problems, because international relations come under union list, while law and order is listed under state list. इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन कहाँ यूनियन लिस्ट और लॉ एंड ऑर्डर स्टेट लिस्ट. States should use the Home Ministry's 2018 standard to detect illegal immigrants. India has been struggling with problem of illegal immigrants since independence. Now is the time for India to define a clear refugee policy. This will not only prevent state government from adopting a different stance from the central, but it will also prevent India from large influx of illegal. It will also prevent India from large influx of illegal immigrants. Discuss the social base of child labor in India. Critically evaluate the program run by government for eradication of child labor. Child labor, as defined by International Labour Organization, is work that robs children of their childhood, their potential and dignity, and is harmful to their physical and mental growth. आपको चाइल्डहुड ख़त्म कर दे रहा है, उनके पोटेंशियल और डिग्निटी के अगेंस्ट है, और उनसे चाइल्डहुड उनका छीन ले रहा है. ठीक है. ILO also stated that most extreme form of child labor includes child being enslaved, separate from their families, exposed to serious danger and disease, and or left to fend for themselves on street of large cities. Child labor statistics in India, according to census 2011, more than 10.2 million children aged 5 to 14 are working as child labor. Child labor has increased rapidly in urban area and has declined in rural area. Overall reduction of child labor, अगर हम 2001 से 11 के बीच में देखें, only 2.2%. India largest employer of child labor are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Social base of child labor in India: poverty. Many families are unable to afford the basic necessity of life and send their child to work instead of school. Poverty also forces some children to work as a bonded laborer or migrant to other places in search of work. Social norms. Some communities and families have a tradition of putting their child to work in certain occupations such as agriculture, carpet weaving, and domestic services. Some people also believe that education is not important or appropriate for girls. Lack of decent work opportunity for adult and adolescent. Due to high unemployment rate and low wages, many adult and youth cannot find decent and respectable work. This lead to engage in informal and risky works, or push their child into labor. Poor school infrastructure. Many schools in India lack adequate facilities, teacher and quality education. Some schools also charge fees or other expenses that are unaffordable for poor families. These factors discourage parents from sending their children to schools. Emergency situation. Natural disaster, conflict, epidemic can disrupt the normal functioning of society and increase the vulnerability of child. Some children may lose their parents' home and access to basic services. They may be forced to work to survive. The following program are being run by Government of India for eradication of child labor. सबसे पहला है राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट ऑफ 2009. It added Article 21A to Indian Constitution. Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986. Prohibit the employment of children below 14 year of age and adolescent below 18 year of age in hazardous occupation and processes. Factory Act of 1948 prohibit the employment of children under 14 year of age in any hazardous environment and restrict the hour and condition of work of teenagers 14 to 18 year old who can only be employed in non-hazardous processes. National Policy on Child Labor 1987. It aimed to eliminate child labor by restricting and regulating it, to provide welfare and development program for children and their family, and to ensure education and rehabilitation of working children's. National Child Labor Project Scheme. It aimed to provide a non-formal education, vocational training, midday meal, stipend and healthcare to rescued child and then mainstream them into formal school education system. अब आते हैं पेंसिल पोर्टल. द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द पोर्टल इज टू इन्वॉल्व विद सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, डिस्ट्रिक्ट सिविल सोसाइटी एंड public in eradication child labor to achieve goal of child labor free society. It was launched by Ministry of Labor and Employment. However, despite the above mentioned program, the following shortcomings exist. पहला क्या है? The pandemic is hindering enforcement of anti-child labor law due to less workplace oversight and less vigorous pursuit of human trafficking. NGOs points to the fact that real surge in child labor is yet to come. When economic activities begin to pick up, the risk of migrants returning to city taking child with them increase. देखो, children's access to education and basic nutrition and other vital need for their development and well-being has been hit hard, and many children have been trapped in forced labor, worsening the situation of existing child labor. Child labor is a vicious cycle of poverty, unemployment, underemployment, and low wages. A concerted effort should be made towards a social security program and cash transfer to improve economic condition of families and reduce need to send child to work. There is a need to bring uniformity in existing India's law to deal with child labor. Law should expand the definition of child by prohibiting employment and ensuring free and compulsory education for child below 18 years of age. अब आते हैं. Describe the causes and consequences of recent violence and unrest in Manipur. Discuss the steps to be taken to ensure peace and harmony in northeastern region of India. Recent communal violence in Manipur flared up after Manipur High Court directed the state government to take further action on 10-year-old recommendation to grant ST status to the non-tribal Methi community. The violence escalated after all tribal student union Manipur organized a Manipur solidarity rally. All tribal student union Manipur organized a tribal solidarity rally against alleged to include Messi in scheduled tribe. Causes of disturbance: the eviction of tribal people from forest area and demand for ST status for Methi have been the most recent driving factor. In fact, over the past decade, the divide between Methi community and tribal groups has widened over various issues. Existing problem in the delimitation process. In 2020, when Central started the first delimitation process in the state since 1973, the Methi community alleged that the census data used for it did not accurately reflect the population distribution. On the other hand, the tribal groups जैसे Kuki Naga claim that their share in state population has gone up to 40%, but their representation in assembly is low. Infiltration and migration from neighboring region. फरवरी 2021 मिलिट्री कू इन म्यांमार led to a refugee crisis in India's northeast. Methi leaders have alleged that there has been a sudden flood of villages in Chura Chandrapur district. Drug problem. Some tribal groups with vested interests are trying to sabotage the intensive campaign of the government against the drug. An anti-drug campaign was launched with the destruction of opium farms. Illegal immigrants belonging to Manipur Kuki Jumi community are cultivating drugs on cleared land. अब देखो रिजल्ट्स क्या हो रहे हैं. Border vulnerability. The unrest in Manipur could lead to an increase in cross-border criminal activities such as smuggling, drug trafficking, illegal arms trade. This can make area boundaries more vulnerable and affect overall security. Growth of extremism. Prolonged unrest can provide fertile ground for extremist group to expand their influence and recruit more people, leading to an increase in extremist activities and further destabilizing the region. Strained relationship with neighboring countries. The unrest in Manipur could have an impact on India's relation with neighboring countries like Myanmar, Bangladesh, and China. An increase in refugee flow and cross-border crime could strain relation and hamper diplomatic effort in the region, hindering economic growth. Persistent unrest can deter investment and impede economic growth in the region, leading to an increase in unemployment and poverty, which in turn can lead to great instability and security challenges. Challenges to India's Act East policy. The unrest in Manipur could impact India's Act East policy, which aimed to boost economic and strategic ties with Southeast Asia. Ensuring peace and stability in northeastern region is essential for the success of this policy and India's wider strategic interest. अब आते हैं internal displacement. The unrest in Manipur could lead to large-scale internal displacement of people, putting pressure on neighboring states and sources. This could lead to additional tension between different ethnic group and community, further complicating regional security. Human right violation. Prolonged unrest can result in human right violation, attracting international attention and criticism. This could affect India's image and ability to advocate for human rights and democratic value in region and beyond. Impact on social unity. Unrest in Manipur could deepen ethnic, regional, and social division, weakening social unity and harming. This could pose long-term challenge to regional security and peace building effort. A step to be taken to ensure peace. देखो, there is a need to evaluate the criteria of ST status to as per recommendation given by various committee. Local committee 1965 recommended 5 criteria for identification. देखो, प्रिमिटिव करेक्टर होना चाहिए, डिस्टिंक्टिव कल्चरल कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी, जोग्राफिकल आइसोलेशन होना चाहिए, साइनेस टू कॉन्टेक्ट विद कम्युनिटी एट लार्ज एंड बैकवर्डनेस होनी चाहिए. फुरिया कमीशन 2002 से 2004 में बना, फोकस ऑन 5th शेड्यूल सब्जेक्ट such as tribal land and forest, health, education, functioning of panchayat, state of tribal women. In year 2013, a high-level committee was constituted under the chairman of Professor Virginius Zaksa, पता नहीं क्या पढ़ते हैं इसको, with the task of studying 5 important issue related to tribal. देखो, livelihood and employment मिल रहा है कि नहीं, जागजा कमेटी. एजुकेशन मिल रहा है कि नहीं, खाका वर्गेनियस खाका. इसमें कह रहे हैं कि लाइवलीहुड मिल रहा है, लाइवलीहुड एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिल रहा है कि नहीं, एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, involuntary displacement and migration, and legal and constitutional matters. To prevent infiltration of migrants from Myanmar, and more surveillance should be arranged in border areas, strengthening economic and diplomatic ties with the neighboring state can help enhance regional stability and security. There is a need to keep track of identity of people in border area to identify the local residents. Signing a peace accord with the local insurgent group would also be an appropriate step to maintain peace in the region. Repeal the controversial Armed Force Special Power Act 1958 is essential to improve the human rights situation in the region. The government should ensure that legal system is fair and transparent so that abuse of power by security forces is prevented. The government should encourage that participation in decision-making process to promote a sense of ownership and belongingness among the people of area. Northeast India is rich in natural resources and tourism potential. The stability of region is indispensable for overall development. Therefore, all the stakeholders should make effort in this direction by making proper strategy.